He's been waiting a while for the other match to finish. We saw it round off just a few minutes ago with Albin Ouschan beating Niels Fyan 5-2. So both fairly comfortable wins in the end in their respective semi-finals, and now it's Melling and Ouschan to decide the Group 1 winner, and with it the first place in next Monday's winners group. As we were saying, Albin Ouschan perhaps looked a bit more tired in his semi-final than Chris Melling did in his. We'll see if that feeds into the way the final plays out at all.
Yeah, of course, start of the match is always key. And the break shot. It's Chris Melling versus Albin Ouschan, day 1, Group 1. Who is going to advance to the final group?
Mr. Melling.
Of course, it's not all doom and gloom. The loser of this match will be back tomorrow to play some more pool. Melling gets underway. And he's been breaking pretty good, to be fair. He's hitting them square on and he's making balls. You see the wing ball and the one ball disappear. No, he's not got an easy shot on the red 3. I don't know if he can play a bank shot onto the 7 and pot the 7. It's a small option at first glance. If he does play that shot, he's got to try and control the cue ball. Not only has he got to pot the 7, but it's key to not lose the cue ball as well. So he played it with right spin. And he needs the cue ball to stop and not stop there. Now he's bridging down over the green 6.
Looks to me like he's relishing this. Moved away from pool really for a few years to concentrate on snooker when he was on the professional tour. He's come right back into pool in the last couple of years. And at 42 years of age now, I think he's enjoying the fact that he's competing with these more current stars and competing well enough to have found himself in the final. Now that shot has not gone the way he would have hoped.
Yeah, it was quite difficult to get back out for the 4. Often you can see that when striking down on it. And the spin just kind of goes away. But he's got a good chance here playing a hook behind the 8. There you see. It landed quite nice for him to play that little shot. And he's played it very well. I think Albin's only got a 1 rail kick on here. Off the bottom rail. Of course, he needs to hit this ball and he needs a little bit of luck. Now if he does hit this full, there's a small percentage of chance it could go in the bottom left pocket. But he's got to hit this full for that to happen. But I mean, he'd just be delighted with the a good contact at the moment. Well, he decided to play it slow and just try and get the hit. And the hit he didn't get, so Chris Melling gets ball in hand, and it was a good safety from Chris, which resulted in the ball in hand.
potted a couple of balls off the break. Didn't lead to a run out, but it did enable him to put Ouschan in trouble. And in his attempt to escape from that, Ouschan handed Melling a clear chance to win the rack. Ball in hand. And first rack taken very firmly in hand by Chris Melling. He leads Albin Ouschan in this group final 1-0. So just a reminder, the winner of the group will pocket $4,000, runner-up $2,000, semi-finalists $1,250, and then it's $900 for 5th and $700 for 6th. Nothing for the player who finishes bottom of the group. That'll be the case throughout, so whoever wins this is on a minimum of $5,000, because even if you finish last in the winners group, you get $1,000 for that. The winner of the winners group gets a further $5,000. Of course, there's no way of knowing what the overall first prize will be, because it's hard to know, impossible to know how many groups you'll play in to get there. And we've seen it in Championship League snooker a number of times that the winner of the tournament actually isn't the player who ends up with the most prize money. That's because of the unique format. It's a format which is suiting Chris Melling very nicely at the moment. He's 1-0 up as Albin Ouschan breaks off in the second rack.
Yeah, let's see how Albin's breaking in this final. Cue ball's close, it's been kicked. Well, he was throwing his hand up and down, but you know, at least wait till the balls have finished, Albin.
Yeah, for a moment there it looked as though the one might nudge the cue ball into the pocket, but they've ended up the other way round. Very much to his advantage. It's a great chance to immediately make it 1-1.
Yeah, you'll definitely see a difference in style of play. Albin likes to walk around the table and just double check the angles and, you know, make sure he doesn't do anything silly, as where Chris would have probably finished the rack by now.
30 years of age, Albin Ouschan. He's already won about $500,000 in career prize money. Great record in team events, one of the best records of any player ever in the Mosconi Cup, and has played his part in Europe's successes of recent years. And a particularly outstanding record as part of the Austria team in the World Cup. In the last 3 stagings, they've won it twice and been in the final the other time. Former world champion back in 2016. Really tough route to it as well. Beat Jason Shaw in the quarters, Alex Pagaline in the semis, and Shane Van Boning in the final. He'd already been in the world final himself a couple of years before that, and was beaten by the man he saw off in the semis here a few minutes ago, Niels Fine.
Yeah, when Albin was a little bit younger, he used to have a really bad temper when he played pool. He was known for throwing his cues about and kicking chairs and all that, but he's got rid of that out of his game.
I've certainly known a few players like that. None of them ever became world champion though. Well, the easiest of 9 balls to finish it off. And very quickly, 2 racks already completed. 1-1 in the group final between Chris Melling and Albin Ouschan. And we said, when we looked in on his semi-final and commentated on the end of that he was starting to look a bit tired. He's just got to tell himself here, just one last big push, get this done, and then, well, he can rest for a few days. Do some practice. It'll be a long week to fill. It's not like he's going to go home. If he does win this, before coming back to play the winners group. I know he's been doing some running while he's been here, doing laps of the outside of the stadium here, which is the home to Milton Keynes Dons of League One. So Chris Melling, pegged back to 1-all. He starts us off in rack 3.
So Chris kind of lost the cue ball there. Obviously the guys are trying to park the cue ball in the centre, and he didn't manage to do that. And he doesn't have a shot on this one ball, I don't believe. But certainly on table 1, guys are pocketing loads of balls on the break. I mean, he's potted 3 balls there on the break. Often when this happens, the safety aspect of 9-ball kind of disappears. He's played a cross bank and he's played it nice. Good cue ball as well, up top end of the table.
We've seen 6 balls pocketed on the break. That's the most I'm aware of. Did you ever do anything like that, Carl? Do you remember maybe knocking in even 4 or 5 off the break?
I think probably 4 or 5 or something. I don't recall me ever making 6 or anything like that.
I think it was Efren Reyes, wasn't it, who made 6 off the break and didn't even win the rack?
I think Pagalion, I think that's on YouTube. You can actually see that. He breaks off, makes 6, and I think he had a shot as well in it. I think he ended up hooking himself.
That's it was Pagalion actually.
So it was a good cross bank from Chris, and you can see he just gets on with it, plays off pure instinct. Such a natural potter and a great cueist.
Yeah, and that makes it a clash of styles, and in the early stages it's a clash which is going the way of Chris Melling. He leads Albin Ouschan in the Group 1 final by 2 racks to 1.
Going to the bottom cushion, maybe off the 8. Oh, trick shot by Woodward. What a shot by Albin Ouschan.
One thing's guaranteed, that shot will appear on plenty of highlight reels.
Whoa, did he split the wicket? What a beautiful shot that was. What a beautiful execution.
Look at this. Oh my gosh.
Sometimes it's best if you get up to the table and just hit the ball.
This championship is being played with the new Aramith tournament set. Featuring a unique molecular structure, it guarantees razor-sharp precision and unsurpassed longevity. Unquestionably the best pool balls in the world, this set is available in a TV and a value pack version, as well as in the new My Aramith range of ball and cue cases. Now you can bring and play with the best ball set everywhere you go. My Aramith, bringing new dimensions to your billiards experience.
Welcome back to what is very much the business end of Group 1 in the 2021 Predator Championship League pool. It's the final to decide who will be the first man through to the winners group. Chris Melling leading Albin Ouschan by 2 racks to 1 in the early stages here. It's a race to 5. Ouschan to get us underway in the 4th.
There you see the wing ball disappear, and it might be Albin's. Oh, I don't think Albin will be playing a bank shot here. He's got a very simple safety shot. I think he's got the snooker. I don't believe Chris can see an edge, so he's either going to have to get the jump cue. Can he see an edge? Or is he playing a little swerve shot? Chris just getting the cue ball cleaned off our referee, Mr. John Lehman. John has also come over from the USA. He lives in New York City. So he played the swerve shot. I think he was trying to hit that one ball a little bit fuller as a safety shot, and he hit it a little bit too thin. Main thing is he's not left Albin a pot, so it will be a safety shot. Getting that cue ball back down to where he's just got it, and the speed and the line is perfect. Trying to kick off the side rail and hit the one ball full, or just off full, which will keep the cue ball up top end of the table and send the one kind of towards the left centre and then back down to the bottom. Obviously not an easy shot. Did hit it full, but not, it was nearly there, just a little bit to the left of the one ball. So Albin can pop this one ball in the right centre, but the big shot's going to be from the two, the blue two, to the pink 4. I think the pink 4 will go in the left centre, so you might see Albin. He just wants to get the cue ball around the middle of the table now, which would mean he's got a nice angle on the blue 2, and he can spin that in and get the cue ball to the bottom right end of the table. Yeah, so that looks pretty good. In fact, it looks very good. So you'll just see him come round here, probably point with his cue where he wants it. Anywhere down this right hand corner of the table. And he'll be spinning this off 3 rails. He wants to hit the 3rd rail coming to the line of the shot. So that's 1, 2, 3. And that's perfect, is it? Yep, that's perfect. It was key, the 3rd rail there. It just meant it was coming into the line of the shot.
Is it just me, or is this already starting to feel like what's going to be a hill-hill group final?
Yeah, I mean, he's at the table, he's got a chance, but we have seen a few errors from, you know, a few strange errors from open play so far. But, you know, both players, they've been in this situation. They probably know how important this match is moving forward, because, you know, we've been playing pool now for 12 hours, so they're the ones that have been out there playing all the group matches, so they know what it takes to, you know, qualify in the top 4 and then win a semi-final. So I'm sure both guys will be desperate just to get that W and advance to the final day in a week's time. You can see Chris just peeping over, watching the shot. So Albin's pretty good on this 8. He'll just spin this through off 2 rails, anywhere in the middle for the 9.
Well, every rack so far in this group final has gone the way of the player who's had the break. So it remains, which leaves us at Chris Melling 2, Albin Ouschan 2. Just a few signs from Ouschan there. He's sort of rubbing his face and his eyes. Tiredness very clear to see in him. But he knows he doesn't have to keep battling for too much longer, win or lose. He's just going to keep his focus on the matter at hand.
I'm doing the same in the comm box, pal. I'm rubbing my eyes and nodding off and all sorts. It's been a long day for us too.
Has. But great to see an arena event like this back on TV. Yeah, we had the Mosconi Cup, but this is an individual event. We've not really seen this for some time now. So just great to have all these matches. Plenty more to come over the next week.
Yeah, and of course we will be back tomorrow with 2 fresh faces.
Rank number 5, score is 2-2.
They'll be the only fresh faces in the building after such a long day today.
Yeah, I mean, the break shot's very easy for this level of play, to be fair. The wing ball's just nailed on straight in the pocket, and the guys can just, you know, just basically stun the cue ball dead. And after the break, the kind of ball watching, really. So, you know, at this level, it's not the most challenging of break shots, it has to be said. And that, to be honest, I think that does favour Chris, because he's guaranteed a ball on the break. He doesn't really play much 9-ball. You know, he mixes all the cue sports, and when he's getting an open table like this, and he just has to concentrate on the potting, and he doesn't have to navigate that cue ball into difficult situations, I think that does benefit him. Like now, it's just shot after shot. You know, he's played, you know, in this rack he's played 1 half decent shot, and he's, you know, they're all pretty easy really. He's just got to stun this over for the 3, run through for the 4, It's like one rack pool. Yeah, he's landed a little bit straight, but he should be fine. He can just roll it through a little bit for the pink 4 that's on the top rail.
You mentioned his versatility with cue in hand, the different disciplines he's played. I mentioned earlier he's been on the professional snooker tour. He was as high as number 79 in the world at one stage, which is a really high standard to get to. Made 20 centuries in professional snooker, the highest of them a 137. And he reached the last 64 of 5 major world ranking tournaments. Anyone who knows anything about snooker will tell you you have to be a very good player even to do that much. He beat some very good players during his time on the circuit. And it looks as though he's going to go 3-2 up on a very good player in the world of 9-ball pool here. As I said, every rack so far has gone the way of the player who's had the break. And if it continues that way, Chris Melling will ultimately end up as the winner of the group. He's just 2 racks away from doing it now, because for the 3rd time he goes 1 rack in front. Melling now leads 3-2.
Yeah, it was another quick run out by Chris Melling. Albin Ouschan will break in the 6th rack, trailing 3 racks to 2.
No dry breaks yet in this group final. This would be a really inopportune time
Number 6,
for Ouschan to produce one here.
in favor of Mr. Melling. Mr. Ouschan to break.
Yeah, just watch the green 6 on the end of the rack. That should fly straight into this bottom right corner. Yeah, there you see. It's just disappeared, and then you kind of just hoping you get a shot. And the cue ball is near the 1, but I think it's very thin to cut it along that top rail. Yeah, it obviously looks a lot thinner than what that TV angle's telling us. I think he can cut it along the rail, don't get me wrong, but
Just like that. Oh, but, well, for a moment there I thought the cue ball might just end up straying in behind the 8. He has got a shot at the 2.
yeah, he does have a shot at the 2, but after 12 hours of pool, when you've been rubbing your eyes for the last 30 minutes, this is not easy. Especially if he's dead straight. I mean, he needs a little bit of angle because of where the 3 ball is. He's got to try and get back up there, so all depends on the angle he's got. That would kind of tell us he's dead straight, wouldn't it?
Yeah, certainly looks to be that way.
I mean, if you was playing for a bit of fun or in an exhibition, you would jack up on this and try and fire it in and draw the cue ball back, but that is not easy. So what shot is Albin playing? Does he have a little bit of angle? Is he trying to power this in? He's playing a kind of cross... Well, he didn't play a cross bank, I mean a cross bank safe, and he's played that absolutely lovely. Played that to perfection. Perfect line on the cue ball, perfect speed. Great shot. Now what Chris needs to do here is just try and find a path where he can just hit the two ball slow, so the cue ball just hits the rail. Of course, when playing 9-ball pool, after contact you must hit a rail. I mean, he could even try and tie something else up and purposely give ball in hand, but Albin would definitely lay another. Yeah, it's a bit dangerous this, just purely because I mean the two ball is already tied up, so he may as well try and hit it soft, you know, and kind of play a duck safety. The problem now is Albin can put the cue ball anywhere he wants, and you know, he's guaranteed to hook Chris back. I mean, maybe Chris is just trying to bank on getting an easier kick shot. Albin can move the cue ball where he wants. Often you see the players putting it right near the object ball and just flicking off it very thin. Now is he going to just try and put the cue ball back over the left side of the table, or is he going to try and get the cue ball behind the pink 4? What he's concerned about here is that he just doesn't leave a real easy kick shot for Chris. You know, he's going to be pushing that 2 kind of into the rail and sort of not opening up the 7, but he's in a good spot, but you still have to be careful here because you can leave an easy kick back. So let's see where this goes. He wants the cue ball to bounce. Yeah, and this is the problem, because he didn't get, well, he didn't hit it hard enough and he didn't get the right line, so he's left Chris an easy kick, but Chris wants to try and kick this and put Albin back in a bit of trouble. So we might try and go 2 rails. Just let's watch the cue ball here, off the bottom rail, then off the side rail, and he needed a thinner contact. So because he hit the 2 ball a little bit full, he now might be in a spot of bother when he comes back to the table. This is the type of shot when I used to play. I was terrible at this type of shot. I used to really make a mess of these ones, Michael.
Can't believe you ever made a mess of any shot, Carl.
Just YouTube my name and you will see plenty. Yeah, so at first glance, yeah, he's hooked Chris, but it's not the best shot he's ever played, because now Chris can go off this side rail. Can he get enough spin on this and try and draw the cue ball back behind the 7, or has Albin just covered it enough?
Tense moments in the final, but they both know how much is at stake here. If Melling wins this rack, he's 4-2 up, and then breaking in the 7th. So these moments here could end up being the decisive ones in this group final.
Yeah, I don't think Chris can play that shot. I think he would have got down and already played it. I think he obviously can't hit, you know, closer to the 2 off the rail. And plus, he's obviously, don't forget, he's got to hit a rail after contact. Yeah, so he can't just come off the rail, hit the 2, and try and get the cue ball back behind the 7, because he won't have hit a rail.
This is where the absence of a shot clock is really felt, isn't it? Be a very different rack this if they were having to play under those constraints.
Yeah, he's not happy, is he? I mean, he's got the best view in the house, that's for sure, so he knows the exact angle that cue ball comes off the rail. We're kind of half guessing here where we're at. Yeah, he's just dumping here. He's not even kicking it. I mean, it's such an easy kick shot, but he's just not happy where it's going to leave it. So a bit of a strange one, to be honest. I mean, you're giving one of the best players in the world ball in hand when you could have easily kicked it. Maybe you should have played the old Chris Robinson kick and whack shot.
Hit and hope. Now, can he make this 2 into the opposite corner?
Well, where he's put the cue ball, he's definitely not going to be playing the pot. He's going to be ducking and putting Chris in another snooker. It's often easy to pull out of this type of shot, though. I mean, not if you're Albin Ouschan. Yeah, now Chris is in a world of danger because Albin's managed to get the cue ball close to that 3. It cuts out a lot of the escape routes. Yeah, so I'm not too sure about Chris dumping there the way he did. I mean, even if Albin does get ball in hand, he's not got an easy layout. Can Chris find a bit of magic?
These two were both involved in the first round of matches at 12 o'clock. Albin Ouschan playing Chris Robinson, Chris Melling playing Ralph Souke. They both won. Here they are now, midnight. Still battling away. Still both in with every chance of winning this group.
He's trying to play this shot off 3 rails. And he's trying to just find the right hand side rail just below the middle of the pocket. So 1, 2, 3. It's a good hit. He'll be happy with that. That's what he played. Wanted a good contact there, and you know the pace was good. Very good shot. There you see just before the middle. Hits it nice and sends it over towards them row of balls, and that kind of keeps him in this rack still. So that could be a key shot in this final.
Just feels like such a different game, doesn't it, without the shot clock?
Yeah, it just gives the player that opportunity to just stand there and, you know, waste 30, 40, 50 seconds where, you know, of course he would have only had 1 extension per rack, and I suppose over the course of the day, you know, these little minutes here and there probably do add up. But from a player's perspective, you know, you probably want that little bit more time, especially when in this situation it's such a big shot and you don't want to make a mess of it. So he's trying the slow roll and he's left this on. I think he's left this on.
I think he has. Awkward to get to, bridging over the 5, but you'd still back him for this. Now these could be big moments here, because as I've said, if he goes 4-2 up, he'll then have the break in the next rack.
Yeah, he's just going to stun this in and try and bump the 3 out into the middle of the table. Like so. That kind of looked like a bit of a miss hit. It looked a bit odd that when he delivered the cue. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, the 5 wasn't a major problem for him in the end. 7 might be a bit more of a difficulty here.
Yeah, even though he's bridging over this brown 7, it's actually not the worst lead because he's right behind the pot, and obviously he's such a great potter. You know, and he's got this chance through getting a good hit on that 2 ball. It wasn't easy to judge hitting it off the 3 rails, and because he did, it kept him alive in this rack. So he stunned into the 5 and knocked that up the table. That's not bad. Yeah, he's lost a cue ball a little. Yeah, I mean, he's okay. I mean, near the centre of the table would have been fine, but you can just float this in with a bit of right spin. Getting the cue ball clean there. He knows this is a big shot. Doesn't want a nasty contact, because I think he's going to be playing this quite slow with a bit of right spin. Watch the cue ball. Professionals play this with a bit of drag. It just slows down. Oh, he's missed that by a lot. He almost like didn't deliver the cue through right there. It was almost like he was going to play it with a bit of slow right drag, and he ended up hitting it a little bit too hard. And what has he left? Albin Ouschan. Could have been. It could have been easier for Albin. It has to be said.
Yeah, Melling though returning with a look of frustration on his face as he went back to his chair. He knows he's missed a big chance there to really take a firm grip on this group final.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the easiest shots he's left Albin, but you know, Albin should be happy he's back at the table at the end of the day. But I've noticed that quite a bit today when Chris has missed certain pots. I mean, you know, everyone, to be fair, they've not kind of left their opponents easy when they've come in, but I mean, it's not ideal, but it's a shot, isn't it? You still fancy him to pot this. Come on, Albin. I think this is what Chris does so great. In this situation, he probably just cuts it in the far left pocket where the 8 is. And I'm not saying trust to luck to get on the 7, but just sees that angle and knows he's got a good chance of getting on the 7, so just put everything into the pot. Like, I think he can chop this in the top left pocket where the 8 is, send the cue ball off 4 rails, possibly even bump into the 7, and just hope it's your day. The key thing here is to make sure you pot the ball. Don't get too adventurous with the cue ball, just pot the ball. If you don't pot the ball, you don't stay at the table. He's tried to hold the cue ball. He needs a flick. Has he got the flick?
I think that shows you how late in the day it is. He did a very curious thing there, bridging over the ball, obviously a bit concerned that the sort of midriff of his shirt might brush it, and for some reason he starts to adjust the sleeve up the top of his arm, which is nowhere near the ball. It's hard to think straight after 12.5 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, and also I think that's the difference with these two players. I think Chris would be more than happy where that's finished. As where Albin, he's still there, shaking his head, he's not happy, but I mean, you're not always going to land plumb, pal. You know, be happy where you've finished. He's played a good pot, he's nudged it. I mean, this looks an easier shot than the previous shot to me,
but again, if there was no shot clock, he would have had to get down and play it by now. He's just really giving himself too much time to let negative thoughts come into his head.
Yeah, I think that's just what you've touched on. I think he's thinking negative, as where somebody like Chris, he's more than happy to see the ball disappear. He's got a shot on the 7. As where Albin's still shaking his head and he's not happy as well. You know, he does have a pot. And he can play safe. You know, the 8 ball's not in the worst position. If he pots the ball, just make sure you pot the ball. And he didn't pot the ball. And where have they finished?
Oh, that could hardly have turned out worse. What a chance for Chris Melling now. He's had one already, but this is an even better one to go 4-2.
Yeah, and we have seen this all day. Players have made mistakes with 3 and 4 balls left, and time again they've not been punished, which is very unusual. But what has Chris Melling played here? He's got the full table to land in. What is the cue ball doing all the way up there?
Well, he may still pot this 8 ball, but even if he does, it doesn't change the fact he's made a complete mess of that positionally. Shouldn't be in this position.
Yeah, luckily it's just stopped, so he can spin it in with a bit of left and just, you know, leave it kind of long, but the cue ball's going
Oh, don't
the
scratch.
side.
Don't scratch. Oh, another twist.
Well, this is the, you know, this isn't pick on Chris Melling day by any stretch, but I've said it time and time again. The one thing that lets him down in this game is his cue ball. To leave the cue ball where he left it on the 8 there, it's unforgivable. And he's paid the ultimate price. Drama at its best, it's 3-3.
I think you could write a novel about everything that happened in that rack. Chris Melling will be absolutely sick that he hasn't gone 4-2 in front. Albin Ouschan has somehow managed to level. It's 3-all. The conclusion is next.
This championship is being played with the new Aramith tournament set. Featuring a unique molecular structure, it guarantees razor-sharp precision and unsurpassed longevity. Unquestionably the best pool balls in the world, this set is available in a TV and a value pack version, as well as in the new My Aramith range of ball and cue cases. Now you can bring and play with the best ball set everywhere you go. My Aramith, bringing new dimensions to your billiards experience.
Well, I make it 183 racks of pool we've seen today. I doubt any of them has been as eventful as that one. What it ultimately came down to in the end was that Chris Melling looked for all the world like he was going to lead this group final 4-2, and then left himself in a position he should have had no business being in on the 8 ball. Still managed to pot it, but with the cue ball running wild as a result of the angle he'd left himself, he scratched in the middle, left Ouschan the simplest of 9 balls with ball in hand to make it 3-all. So, can Chris Melling put that out of his head now as he breaks in rack 7?
Yeah, what he'd love here is a really easy split. As where Albin just wants the balls to come out horrible and, you know, Chris to get full punishment, and he hasn't. The pool gods are on his side. Often you see players making a huge mistake like that and getting severe punishment the rack after. But this time, the pool gods are definitely still on Chris Melling's side. He's got a shot at this 1 ball. Cue ball's near the rail. So he's going to have to, you know, take his medicine and leave it long for the 2. Which is fine, of course. But the balls are all sat pretty here, to be fair. Just got to play another good shot here. Probably stun this out into the middle of the table. No, I decided to run it through. That was fine as well. It's a funny old game pool, Michael.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look how long that last track was. I mean, that must have been getting close to half an hour there, and Chris Melling's lost it, and here we are now. He could have this one won in the space of about 2 minutes. And all because he played a nice break and the ball split nicely for him.
Yeah, that's right. Albin will be sat there thinking, couldn't it have just come out a little bit tricky for you, Chris, after that mistake? Now you can play this with drag and just kill the cue ball to stay on the 7.
Thought he was going to be breaking for the match in this group final. He wasn't, but he still broke very well. And it looks as though Chris Melling will still be first to the hill. Difference is, of course, if he'd done it in the last rack, then, as I say, he would have been breaking for the match. As it is, Ouschan will have the break in rack 8. There's going to be a certain amount of pressure on it because he's got to deliver with it.
Just what the doctor ordered in rack 7. A Chris Melling break and run, which puts him on the hill.
Yeah, best way to respond to the mess that he frankly made of it at the end of the previous rack. And as you say, he is on the hill, on the brink now of being the first player through to the winners group. Started so promisingly for him with that 5-0 win over Ralph Souquet. Still the only whitewash we've seen. He wasn't greatly fancied, you would have to think, going into the group semi-final against Eklund Kachi, but in no time at all he was 4-0 up and ended up winning 5-1. He did hit a bad streak earlier in the day, lost 3 matches in a row. But he's put it behind him and has played pretty well throughout the evening's play. But as I say, Ouschan does have the break here, so this final is still far from won.
Yep, now it's Albin's turn to see where the balls will land. Just watch the brown 7 there on the end of the rack. That'll go straight into this corner. Well, it should go straight into the corner, and it hasn't gone straight into the corner.
It almost went into the opposite corner. Okay, he's got a ball down, but nothing on the one here.
Yeah, and he was holding his hands up as if to say, why now? Why a dry break? But there you can see the purple ball disappears, but he doesn't have a shot on this one ball, so you can just see the difference in the two racks, can't you? Chris Brokoff plus about 3 balls, nice easy table, runs the rack in about 34 seconds. Albin's faced with this tricky opening shot, really. Not easy to get safe. No bank shot. Is he trying to get the cue ball in behind the 2? Never easy. Got to find the right line. I think it's slightly under hit. I don't think he's got the hook. Chris is a very attacking player. He's had a quick look at, can he send the one down into the pink 4? I'm not saying that's the shot he's going to play, but he's just weighing up his options. I think on your TV monitors you might be thinking, can he not play the one ball in the left centre? But I think that is a lot thinner than it looks. This is why he's taking a bit of thought over this shot. Again, he's a very attacking player, is Chris. He likes to go for them big shots and attack the table, so don't be surprised if you see him having a swipe at something. I'm wondering if he can also play the one just above the middle and try and get it on the bottom rail and get a cue ball good somewhere. So he tried to play it in the side. Wasn't a bad effort. As I said, that would be a lot thinner than the TV told us. Now, can Albin chop the 1 in? If he can chop the 1 in and land on the 2, he's got a pretty good chance. And where's the cue ball? Where is the cue ball? It was close to the side, but he's got away with that one. Now you can see this little cluster of balls over this left corner pocket. It looks pretty easy to navigate the pink 4 onto the 7. He would like an angle though. He wants to get close to his work after potting this red 3. Would be quite fitting, Michael, after nearly 13 hours of play, if this was to go hill-hill.
Well, we said it, didn't we? I think when it was about 2-all. I think we said then it had all the look of being that way. And this final has now been in progress for over an hour, which is pretty long, really, for race to 5 with players at this level. And of course, there's still some pools to be played.
Yeah, and there's not been that much safety, to be fair. Now, this is an interesting situation. Well, first of all, Albin, he's throwing his arms up in the air every 2 minutes because I think he's got a kick, but he doesn't need to be that close to his work. But this is one of them situations, if you're on the practice table, You see this shot so easy, you get down, you play it, and you run out. But because it's been a long day, and his game's kind of nosedived a little bit over the last few hours, he's looking for problems here. That 9 ball, he's kind of just looking, if I don't quite hit this right, will I hook myself, and what will happen? And
yeah, it's the sort of paradox of how a more methodical, deliberate player might actually benefit from there being a shot clock here. He wouldn't have the time to let all those negative possibilities and the things that can go wrong come into his head.
yeah, I think he's thinking, can he play the 4 onto the 7 straight and get the cue ball on the bottom rail, or does he play the 4 into the rail to flick the 9 to pot the 7? Or does he do the complete opposite and play a billiard? Now, what angle has he got? I don't think he can play the 4 onto the 9 because the 9's not quite over the pocket. And has it landed a little bit funny, this?
Yeah, again, from there it looks as though the combination is on, but from the overhead gives a different picture.
Yeah, and sometimes you got to be careful that you don't get a double hit and the 4 doesn't disappear. And where's the 9 gone? Where's the cue ball gone? Wow. You've been playing pool for 13 hours. You pop the pink 4 off the 9 and they both bounce out and leave yourself hooked. It's all happening. John's just give Albin a warning for unsportsman conduct.
Yeah, well, you said earlier on that he had a reputation for being a bit hot-headed and bad-tempered as a younger player, and I think we saw it coming out there, and the argument he seems to be making is that it's his cue. Well, that's obviously entirely irrelevant to the warning he's been given.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Albin's at the table, he's playing the match, he's obviously feeling different things to what I'm watching, but he was playing a dangerous game there. You know, you fire the 4 ball off the rail into the 9, he knows it's going to bounce out. Yeah, he's been a bit unlucky, but, you know, that's the chance he took.
Just getting that warning is bound to only add to what seems to be a growing sense that everything's going against him here.
Yeah, I don't think this bodes too well for him. I mean, for a start, he's got to make sure he don't hit the 9 and jump over, but I just think the way he's gone about his business, it doesn't look too good for Albin Ouschan. And Chris has got a glorious chance. He's got these 3 balls, and there you could hear the jump cue got a good whack. It got thrown against, and Chris is shaking his head, but
he's not impressed with that. And the victory that he looks to be just a few moments away from achieving, I think you could say is as much a victory of attitude and approach as anything else here.
yeah, a bit of a strange ending to the day. I don't really know what's up with Albin, to be fair. He's got no reason to be acting like this.
So Chris Melling started at midday with a 5-0 win over Ralph Souquet. He's finished just a few minutes before 1 a.m. with victory over Albin Ouschan by 5 racks to 3. He's the winner of Group 1, and he's the first man into the winners' group in the Predator Championship League. Well done, Chris Melling. A long day, but for you, it's been a very, very good one in the end.